So, welcome again to another yoga session. So tonight we're going to start with a little meditation. So you'll want to be able to sit on something, either a thick cushion, a thick bolster, two cushions, one on top of the other. However you want to make your little ledge, and make sure you're comfortable as well. Maybe have your blanket underneath your legs and feet like me, so that you've got that extra padding too, and you're not getting your bone compressing onto the floor there. And of course you don't need to sit like me in a kneeled position. You could, there are a variety of positions. You could sit in butterfly, you could sit kneeling, again with a ledge for your hips, bottom, something probably bigger than this you would probably want, so that you are nice and upright. And the important thing mainly about sitting is that you get a little tiny tuck, a little tilt rather, in your pelvis. So rather than sitting right back like this and having maybe a bit rounded and it's very hard to keep upright and you use your hip flexors and your back, rather that you come a little bit forward, push yourself forward a little bit until you find that your pelvis is tilted a little bit, almost like you're tipping just forward, and so you've got a nice straight back without too much effort there. So we find our seat, whatever that may be, and again here you could prop things under your knees if you needed to. So we're going to take 5 minutes of mindfulness, and placing the hands on the thighs, somewhere comfortable, and either lowering your gaze to a point on the floor, so not looking at anything in particular, or closing the eyes completely. And we follow the sound to the very, very end as it tapers off into nothing. And then we bring all of our awareness to the breath, and we start to follow the breath as it comes in through the nostrils, over the throat, into the ribs, passing back out over the throat and out through the nose as you breathe out. So we follow that physical pathway of air No need to change the breath in any way. We just simply let the breath settle all by itself. All we do is shift the focus of attention. And maybe tuning into other sensations that come with that movement of breath coming in, the expansion of the ribs. And as you breathe out, how the ribs deflate Or maybe it's the top of the belly that you notice, gently rising on the inhalation, gently softening on the exhalation. Just keep following that wave-like motion that the breath makes, rising and falling. And then we expand our awareness now to include the whole body sitting here, starting at the feet, feeling the feet on the mat, the texture of skin against whatever it is that you are in contact with, coming up through the legs, the ankles, the calves, and the shins, being aware of any sensations as you raise your awareness up through the body, the thighs and the connection into the hips and your seat, your base, your grounding, feeling the strength here in your base as we breathe in up through the spine to the crown of the head. And as we breathe out, we soften down through the face, shoulders, elbows. Breathe in, little uplift, gathering of energy up through the spine. Breathing out, we release, we soften down through the body. Breathing in, up to the crown. Breathing out, softly releasing and down through the front of the body. And back to the rise and fall in the belly. Awareness of the whole body sitting here, mindfully breathing. Coming home. And so we blink the eyes open, or we lift our gaze, and maybe take a moment just to feel the rebound of the practice. Notice how your body feels, how your mind feels, and how just in a few moments, a few minutes rather, 5 minutes sometimes is all it takes just to settle and connect to the here and now. So let's just start to move slowly out of this posture. Have a little stretch out with the feet, maybe circle one foot, go the other way too. Put hands behind if you like for a little ledge, and then circle the other foot. Get some blood cells back in to those squashed places, circle the other way. And then definitely placing the hands behind now. And we're just going to lift one foot, stretch through the back of the heel, so draw the toes towards your shin, And again, stretch it towards your shins. You push in the back of the leg away, nice and straight. One more. And release. Let's bring the left leg up. So you're pushing through the heel, the back of the knee, and you're drawing the toes towards the shins. Release, and then come back in. Nice strong activation. Release, and then come back in. Nice strong activation. And release. Let's just come back into a nice, easy seated posture, whatever that is for you. And let's just work into the shoulders and neck a little bit here. So let's just gently take the right ear towards the right shoulder and try not to change any of your posture here, your shoulders. Try and keep everything soft as you hang the head towards the right shoulder. And then maybe just angle the chin. I find that if I turn my chin slightly towards my right shoulder, I find that tight little elastic band feeling on the side of the neck there. Let's release slowly down to the front. Chin moves towards the chest. Take a nice deep breath in, and as you breathe out, start to release the back of the shoulders, maybe round a little bit through the spine, and let your head completely release down towards your chest. Another deep breath in. And then slowly we're going to lift the chin and start to turn the left ear towards the left shoulder. And again, a little bit of a hang here, and turn your chin until you find that juicy spot. And then just hang out there and really feel that your right shoulder has got a weight, maybe in the elbow, keeping that shoulder down. Keep your breath nice and smooth. And then we're going to breathe in as we start to roll the head back, but don't go too deep. Lift the head a little bit. You don't want any pinching in the back of the neck. So think more about lifting the chin and stretching the throat. And then just tilting the head until you feel that that's enough. Again, we don't want any pinching, no pinchy feelings. And then we're going to breathe in, and we're going to slowly come back to center. Let's bring the hands together in prayer. Push the elbows out. Let's take the hands above the head. Keep the elbows nice and wide so the hands are still quite low down by the head. Really press the palms together, but also you want to draw the elbows around towards the back. And then take the hands away from each other for a moment above the head. Reach up and then soften and release a little bit. Let's turn the palms away from each other, and then my right arm is in front of my left as I cross and palm to palm, and then see if you can get those hands back up there and stretch up to the ceiling for a moment. And breathe out, release the arms nice and wide. Tap the floor, breathe in, lift back up. So this time palms turn out, but this time the left hand, left arm is in front of the right, and then see how much you can raise those arms up. It's quite intense, so don't worry if your breath has gone up slightly, and then breathe out and release. Let's just shrug the shoulders one after the other a little bit. Hands are just loose. And release. Let's clasp the hands together, the fingers together. Elbows nice and soft and loose at the side. And we get that lovely roller coaster or wave-like motion going here with the hands and the wrists. Excuse me. Let's pause and go back the other way. Good to work into these joint spaces before we do downward dogs and things like that. So back of the hands together this time. We're going to push the arms in front of us, straighten the arms, and then we bend the elbows, we breathe in, and we offer our plate of goodies. We breathe back in, and then we breathe out. Breathe in, bring the hands back through, and breathe out. One more. You should be feeling something in the shoulders now. And let's release. Hands down by the side here. Just gently, fingertips touching the floor. And then maybe leaning to the side a little bit and putting the palm down. And then breathing in. Think about lifting up first with this hand and that side of the body. And as you breathe out, soften the right elbow and come a little bit further down towards the right side there. We breathe in, we lift up, we breathe out, we go to the other side. We breathe in, we lift up, we breathe out to the other side. Breathe in, coming all the way up, breathing out, and down to the other side. Breathing in, and we release. So let's do our cat curls a little bit differently this week. Let's do them still here in this seated posture. You don't have to have your legs crossed, remember. You can go into butterfly, nice long butterfly, or a different posture that works for you. But we're just going to do one more set here. What we're going to do is we're going to breathe in. We're going to have our cacti arms, so bend at the elbows. We push those back, and as we push those back, we send the heart forward and we arch through the back as we lift the chin. We breathe out, and this is when we round the spine and we tuck everything in towards the belly button. Give our shoulders a bit of a squeeze. Breathe in. We open. We breathe out. We close in. We breathe in. We open. We breathe out. We round everything in towards that belly button. Breathe in, opening like the petals of a flower in the morning, catching the sun. Breathe out and we close those petals at night time, conserving all that energy. One more. Breathing in, open up, lift the heart, lift the face and lift your spirits. Breathe out, softly release. Okay, let's come on around onto all fours now. So again, if you have achy knees, you can always pad your mat out with a blanket for your knees. We come into our tabletop position. But since we've already done our cat curls, we can do something a little bit different here. So I want you to bring your hips back as if you're coming into a little child's pose, and then roll the body forward, the back is arched, chin comes up, and then we're going to tuck, and then we're going to send the hips back. So we're doing this rolling forward as we arch, rolling back as we round. You can go as low and deep as you want, or just stay high. Whatever works for your knees, your body. It's your body, it's your yoga, is what they say. One more here. And we are going to come into child's pose now. So remember, you've got all those options of wide knees, arms stretched out in front, head down, or you can work the hands under the head. You can have your knees together and the arms behind. Couple more breaths here. And we breathe in, we press back up into our tabletop. We'll do a little strengthening here for the back with our balancing cat, one of my favourites for strengthening the spine. Right foot is going to shoot back, and we're pressing through that right heel, so again the leg is nice and straight. We're going to lift that belly button up towards the spine, so we've got a nice strong back. And then when all of that's in place, that's when we release the left hand forward, stretching away from the hand and the foot. One more breath. And we release. So you should feel some heat now coming into your body as you work into strengthening the core. Left foot comes back, press away through that left heel. See if your body can get your body nice and straight. Lift the belly into the spine, and then release that right arm, stretching through the right arm, stretching through the left heel. Tuck those toes towards the shins. And release. Let's just come back for one moment either onto small knees or high knees. I'm going to come up into high knees, just take the pressure off my knees for a moment. Let's make our, so bring the elbows, stick your elbows to your ribs, and then let's make our little beak. So thumb and all the tips of the fingers together. We drop the hand and then we rotate. So we've glued the elbows in so that we're just getting the wrist rotation here. And after those, when you come into tabletop and those hands on the knee, hands on the mat position, change direction. You know, the wrists can get a little bit sore, especially as we're about to come up into our downward dog. So let's release. If you've got your blanket there, you might either want to fold it up a little bit thinner or just take it out of the equation. And we come into our tabletop. We tuck the toes and we lift the hips. As we push away from the hands, lift the hips high. And we start to pedal one knee and then the other. Now I like to turn my head at the same time and get a little bit of a release through the neck vertebrae. Turn my head to look under each arm. And then we come back down onto our knees for a moment. Let's lift up into, lift the left arm up into eye of the needle. We're going to thread that arm through between the right hand and the right knee, and then see if you can get your shoulder to soften on the mat there. You can keep your right hand in front of your face, or you can walk it up to the top of your mat. Get a good stretch through the armpit there too, as well as this twist through the spine. And then we walk that hand back, and we use the right hand to help press back up into the middle. And this time the right arm shoots up. We twist and turn to look at the hand, and then threading that through as far through as you want to go to get that right arm straight, shoulder nestled down onto the mat, and then decide whether you want to keep the left hand there or whether you're going to walk it up top of your mat and take a breath there. And then we walk that hand back, press the palm onto the mat and lift the body back up. Let's tuck those toes and let's keep your heels lifted for a moment. So keep on your tippy toes, right up on your tippy toes. So it's almost like, so your knees are bent and you're bringing your lower belly onto your thighs a little bit, pressing away from the hands, looking at your toes. Send the hips as high as you can, and then bring the heels down. Oh, I got a nice release there. So here you can pedal again if you want, or you can have a little, just lift one heel tiny bit and one heel tiny bit, and you get this nice rocking motion. Or you can try lifting one foot, right foot, placing it on the back of the left heel. Try the other side. Couple more breaths. So we've worked fairly hardish. We're coming towards the middle. Let's walk the feet towards the hands or the hands towards the feet. Take a soft bend in your knee and allow your upper body to dangle down to the floor. Have a little sway. Again, you bend one knee and then the other. If your hands are knuckle dragging, you can always bring the hands onto the elbows. What's important here is to try and allow the upper body completely to dangle down towards the floor. The clue's in the word, dangle. Get a little bounce on if you want. And then we are going to come up. So you want to soften the knees a little bit more. Breathe in to roll slowly up to standing. Okay, let's take a moment here with a little standing balance. Let's do our tree. So hands can be in prayer or just simply on the waist if you prefer. I just find that this position helps me focus. You want to steady your gaze to one point, and then all the weight comes into the left. I have a bit of a soft bend in my standing leg. I turn my right knee and then place it somewhere along that left leg. You don't want to be pressing into the knee though. So if you're anywhere near the knee, just take the pressure off. Don't press on it. Let's slowly come into tall tree if we can. Relax the shoulders. There's a tendency here to bring the hands up for the shoulders to rise too. And then let's open those branches. Don't worry if you're having a wobble. Bring the knee to the front. Raise the leg as much as you can and release. Have a little shake out there. It's quite intense on, you'll feel that leg now maybe complaining a little bit, but it's really good for the knee joints, strengthens your knee joints, to stand on one leg. But you don't want to be too all over the shop. So if you are very, very wobbly, use a wall or something with your hand. So let's come to the other side. Maybe for you as well, this standing leg is straight. I just prefer a little bend in my standing leg. So we focus, and then we come to the posture. Oh, hang on. I'm doing the wrong side. I'm hoping you're doing the right side now and not the same side that we did before. So left knee is up this time. And then we come up into our tall tree. Sometimes you do get a bit of a wobble as you move the arms, and that's the whole point. In a way, we challenge ourselves. No challenge, no change. Let's open those branches. Relax the shoulders. Hands to the waist, knee to the front. Our last moment of strength and release. Shake it out. And let's do a couple, maybe 3 salutations, and we'll come down onto our mat. So we breathe in, we lift the arms out to the side, we raise the ribs as we look to the hands, we breathe out, we send the hips back as we swan dive down towards the floor. Place the hands either here on the shins, or you can bend your knees if you prefer, and place the hands down on the floor. Breathe in, lift up to tabletop. Breathe out, folding forward. Breathe in, either strong in the legs or bending the knees to come all the way up. So bending the knees sometimes can protect the back if you aren't very flexible in the backs of the legs. We don't want the back to compensate for that. So we breathe in. We breathe out. Imagine diving into a beautiful pool. Breathe in, lift up. Engage the belly towards the spine. Breathe out, fold in and down. Breathe in, strong in the legs. All the way to the top. We breathe out to the heart space. One more, breathe in. Breathe out, and if you can't reach the floor, bend your knees. So we're going to place the hands down on the mat, and we're going to step back and come all the way down onto our mats. So let's take let's take maybe 3 or 4 breaths here in a cobra instead of a sphinx. If this is too much for your back, then just walk the hands a little bit further forward or come down onto your elbows. Few breaths here. Getting that healthy compression into the lumbar. And we slowly release down onto the mat. Bring your hands under your shoulders, tuck your toes and lift back up. We're going to come into a little child's pose. A nice soft rounded one, maybe with the arms behind, like so. But if that doesn't work for you, come onto your backs, because that's what we're going to do next anyway. So if child's pose doesn't work, you come onto your back and you draw your knees softly in towards your chest. You can even have the knees apart and have a little rock. If you're still in child's pose, come onto your back now. Draw those knees in and let's have a little circle with those knees one way. And circle them the other way. Good. Let's bring those knees out to the side now. And then soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Hands either on the backs of the thighs here, the shins, or the side of the feet. We're going into full happy baby. So we're missing out our forward bends tonight, guys, apart from we've done a couple obviously in the standing when we did our salutations. We did some forward bends, but we're going to come straight towards the on your back last few postures of what we would normally do in a session. So I want you to just extend your right foot out to the side, see if you can straighten it as much as you can. Straighten that leg and then bend it back into your happy baby. And then left side, stretching that left foot away from you, see if you can straighten all the way through that left leg and then bend it and bring it back to you. Let's bring the soles of the feet together, so more like a upside down cobblers or butterfly baby. And if your hands don't reach your feet, you can just hold on to your knees here like this, or on top of the shins or the ankles, wherever you are, as long as you are feeling something at the top of the thighs and starting to feel maybe a little bit more relaxed with each breath. As these almost inversions now. So let's think about coming up into a little shoulder stand, maybe just a mini one. So hands, arms nice and long next to the body, hands palm down underneath your bottom, and then using the feet and the legs to bring the legs over the body, and then placing the hands on the lower back or even a little bit higher on the waist there if you can. Can you see how I'm walking my shoulders up here? I kind of lift one and walk it in a little bit and then the other. Now if you've never done shoulder stand before, don't do it on your own through a video. Go to a class and get proper instruction. Not that this isn't proper instruction, but you really don't want to be on your own when you're trying something like this for the first time. So I'm staying quite low here in a little mini shoulder stand. My hands are supporting my hips. You want a little bit of an uplifting feeling, and then it's up to you. You can take the knees out into that butterfly shape again, or if you're going for full shoulder stand, the legs come all the way up and I'm walking my elbows in a little bit more, and then my legs come up nice and long. You don't want any pinching in the neck here, or shoulders, or pins and needles in the arms. If you feel any of those, come down, come out of it. But this is an inversion, so we're getting all the benefits of the venous blood flowing from the legs, nourishing the heart, and all of that nourishing the brain as it's right down at the bottom instead of being up at the top for a change. And so let's draw those knees together. Let's support the back and maybe take the feet over the head a little bit so we can control the hips moving down through the hands. Keep a little ball shape, so keep your chin tucked to your chest as you come out. And then you can release down onto the floor here. Let's come up onto our elbows for a moment. So the elbows under the shoulders, legs nice and long. And all we're going to do here is just hang the head backwards for a little counter pose from shoulder stand. From that, it can be quite intense for the neck. So we're just counter posing here. And let's slowly release. Let's do a couple more things before we make our way into Shavasana. So arms nice and long again, next to the body, but we're not working our hands underneath our bottom this time. Feet onto the mat behind the bum. And then as we breathe in, we lift the hips until we don't want to go any further. And then as we breathe out, we slowly roll the spine back down onto the mat. So we breathe in, we roll up, reach the peak, and then slowly breathe out. Try to roll each vertebrae at a time rather than the back being one big block. Breathe in, lift up. And then you've got a choice as well. You can keep going, breathing in, breathing out, rolling up, rolling down. Or you can hang out at the top here. Squeeze the imaginary block between your knees. Maybe work your hands, elbows under. Again, walk those shoulders together. Clasp the hands underneath for a little bit more. Maybe you can bring the feet even closer in. Maybe support the lower back with the hands. Maybe even lift one leg. Right leg lifts. Strong in the back for this though. If you're not, you should still be rolling up and down. Support the back. Left leg up. And left foot down. And then we slowly roll the vertebrae all the way down. So a few things that were a little bit different tonight. Let's draw those knees in, have a little sway. But like I said before, it's good sometimes to challenge ourselves just a little bit. And you've worked, well, I feel like we've worked quite hard tonight. So let's come towards our Shavasana. Let's just bring the feet onto the mat and have a little sway with the knees left to right. Go as far as you want to either side, or just have a nice, easy sway. And then find your final relaxation posture, whatever that means to you. Find your blanket. Find some comfortable position. So, settling the body back onto the mat. And start to become aware of points of contact between your body and the floor. head, backs of the shoulders, backs of the arms and the hands, the lower back, backs of the legs and the feet. We let the breath soften. We let the body soften. We start to follow the nourishing wave of the breath from moment to moment, breath to breath. Nothing left to do. We simply rest in our natural state. And with each breath, the body sinks a little bit deeper. to do. The mind floats like a kite on a soft, soft breeze. So, just before we come out, I'll read you a poem by Mary Oliver. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, let it go. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. So let's start to bring a little bit of movement back to the physical body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Maybe that morning stretch as if you've just woken up. Or maybe that little hug in and another little sway on the back. Do what you need to do to transition up to seated. Always taking your time. And we come to our seated posture. Bring the hands together at the heart space. We bow the head in respect and we say Namaste. I bow down to the divine in you. Namaste. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.